it's suggested here that all there is energy, just boundless energy. And that boundless energy has no intention or purpose of any kind. It's completely free. Nothing influences that energy. And because it's free, it can become contracted as well. It can be anything. So when that contracted energy arises, it seems to enter the human body. The human being feels that contracted energy at a very early age. And when that contracted energy seems to happen, it's only an appearance of oneness. Oneness is all there is, energy is all there is. But when that apparent contracted energy seems to enter the human form, suddenly there's a sense, there's a self-awareness that arises, self-consciousness suddenly arises. There's an energy that comes in and there's a feeling of being someone, self-consciousness. So identity seems to take place. An individual suddenly arises, a sense of being an individual. And as the child grows, so the sense of being an individual comes with it and grows with it. And a feeling of having free will and choice arises with that sense of the individual. And also a feeling or a sense of story. Suddenly there's a feeling that I am a person and I live in a real story. I'm real and my story is now happening. This is my real story. I was born, I will live and then I will die. That's my story. And directly the idea of an individual story arises, so the idea that that story is very important and it has purpose and meaning. That arises out of that contracted energy. Boundless energy is without meaning or purpose. It has no intention. But directly that contracted energy arises, with it arises story and individual and intention and the feeling that the individual can change its story and make its story better. But what also arises in that sense of individuality is a very strong sense of separation. Really, the individual lives in a dualistic world. The individual is dualism. Which isn't that there's dualism up in some cloud somewhere when the individual enters it. It is that the individual in that separate experience is dualism. And experience is dualism. Experience is the whole world and itself in a dualistic way. So a subject-object experience is what the individual lives on and can only exist in. That dualism, that separation, brings a feeling of loss, a feeling of something that's missing. Most people in the world accept that as the way it is and they try to live and make the best of it they can. Some people are more sensitive to that feeling of loss and they seek an answer to that feeling of loss. So they look in religion, therapy or a teaching of some sort for an answer, a way in which they can find fulfillment. Because they've grown up believing that they do everything. I go to school, I go to work, I get married or not, and I'm doing all of it. So if I want to find fulfillment, I have to do finding fulfillment. So I have to, in order to do that, I have to learn how to become fulfilled. Because this isn't fulfillment. Being separate is not fulfillment. So I can become a Christian, and if I learn how to become a Christian, I'll get a list of things to do. Very long list. If I go to a therapist, the therapist will try to help me to become a rounded individual, and then I get a list of what to do. If I go to a teacher, let's say a teacher of enlightenment, because enlightenment sounds as though it could be fulfilling. This is what I want, to be enlightened. I get another list, quite a big one too, almost as big as the Christian list. And so I will now make the effort to become fulfilled. But the difficulty is that the fulfillment that the me seeks is not the fulfillment it really understands. It looks for a personal fulfillment, whereas the fulfillment it really longs for is about its own absence. We can't bring about that absence because it lives in a dualistic world. It is dualism. So it lives in this story of me in a world of events, looking for an event called being alive. But there is no event called being alive. There is no object called alive. What it seeks is an object. What it seeks is a something that will happen. And its effort to find that object called fulfillment is delightfully and wonderfully, utterly futile. Because it's chasing around in a circle, in this little circle, looking for something that is boundless. So what we're sharing together here is the way in which the me, the self, the I seems to take form, what it's like to be an I, and also looking at the whole possibility of how that fulfillment can be found, and also maybe discovering that actually the me, the dualistic individual, can never find that fulfillment. So that's what may be illuminated here. This is not a teaching, it's not about how to, it's not about any sort of expectation or demand. There isn't anybody that there's any demand made on, because as far as this message is concerned, there isn't anybody here. The whole illusion is a separate individual, it's not what is recognised as an illusion. Therefore there wouldn't be any attempt to try and teach that illusion not to be an illusion. This is just a sharing of something. It's an illumination that we can share together. And to some extent, as the individual grows, it creates belief systems about itself and the world in it. And those belief systems here are challenged in some way or another. And it's possible that at that level of belief, or the sort of sense and understanding of the nature of me, it's possible that sort of understanding can begin to crumble when we talk together. But that's really quite a superficial thing. It's okay, and it can happen. The most fundamental thing that's happening here is energetic. It's not in the word. It's not words. It can't be understood. It's a mystery. We are sharing a mystery. This is about a mystery. Everything we talk about is pointing to a mystery. It's pointing to that which is unknowable. But energetically, that contracted energy, which lives in the world of apparent knowing, being aware, can fall apart and melt into that energy which is boundless and completely unknown.
Hello. How does it work? How can
No, it doesn't work. Nothing works. I mean, that's the other part of this mystery. There's nothing happening. There's nothing happening. What seems to happen is simply appearance. So there isn't anything that works or doesn't work. All there is what seems to happen.
this energy that's inside this illusionary body,
All right.
how can the feeling, how can one, not me, I don't exist, get that feeling that I'm at one with everything?
No, so you will never be at one. This is not about you or anyone being at one. The whole illusion is that the you or the me is not at one. When that apparent illusion collapses, there is just oneness. It isn't then that the one that had the illusion is now at one. When that collapses, there's nothing that knows oneness.
Yes. So how does the collapse happen?
No, it doesn't.
So how can it collapse?
Happen because there is no one. There is no separation. It's an illusion. You could say that apparent liberation is the end of something that was never happening. So let's go another way and say that the one, the self, the I, lives in an artificial dream. It's not real. It's a dream. And it dreams that it is something real, and it dreams that separation seems to be real for it, and it dreams that it one day won't be separate. But it's always looking for something for itself. So it's an illusion. So it's all that you could say liberation is just the end of an illusion, So nothing actually happens at all. You see, the problem for the me is that it lives in a story. I'm a person in a story. I've heard about something called enlightenment. So enlightenment must be in my story somewhere. If I meditate or whatever, all that other stuff, if I do this or do that and become worthy and somehow change myself, then one day enlightenment will happen to me. That's the illusion, that there is something called a story in time in which things happen, including enlightenment. So when that whole construct suddenly isn't there anymore, the whole idea of somebody becoming enlightened collapses with it, together with awareness, consciousness, and all that other crap, all that beliefs. Everything collapses, and let's be clear, there is nothing left. There isn't a Noah, there isn't an individual, all of that collapses. But there isn't anything left but everything. So all that's left is what is. It's a mystery, it can't be described.
I'm speechless. How can the collapse come about?
No, there is no such thing. We're talking about an apparent, everything is apparent. So the apparent individual, it's an appearance.
Yes.
It simply isn't there anymore. But there is no, this is the mystery, that there isn't anything that actually happens. That's impossible to understand for me. Me thinks there's something there. That's the problem. Because me thinks it's real.
What is real?
Well, me thinks itself is real. It thinks I am a real person, and there is something called real enlightenment, and that will happen to me one day. That isn't a total dream, it's a total illusion. So then the me would ask, how does it happen that I become enlightened? How does the collapse happen? Because it's still based on the idea that there's something that will happen, an event. There won't be an event.
Is there anything
The whole belief that there is an event suddenly collapses.
Is there anything that isn't an
No.
illusion?
Oh, is there anything that isn't an illusion? Everything is real and unreal. The only illusion there is that which is experienced by the me, and that experience is that it is real. I am real, the story is real. That's the only illusion there is. But there's nothing that can bring about the end of that illusion, because it's not really happening. It's just a dream. There isn't anyone here, but the experience that there is someone here seems real. And it's also reinforced very much by awareness. Awareness, consciousness is the way that the me stays in place, the way that the me feels real. I am aware of sitting on a seat. For me, the self would think or feel that it's aware of sitting on a seat. That maintains the illusion of there being somebody, one, sitting on a seat, two. That's dualism. It lives in a dual experience, constantly.
When in the illusionary dream, the body dies.
The body dies.
In the dream. Yeah. Is it the point where the illusion collapses?
Yeah, but the illusion is maintained through the brain in the body. When the brain ceases to function, that is real death, not near-death experience. When the brain ceases to function, so does the apparent function of the illusion of separation cease with it. At that point, there's a recognition, not by anyone, because the there's a recognition there never was anyone to die. There never was an actual separate individual who lived a life and then died. But by then it's too late to tell anyone else. The interesting thing is that when that happens in the body, living body, let's call it death, there's the end of an illusion. It can happen that the illusion of separation suddenly ends in the living body. And then there is nothing left, which can be described or known. Then it's also too late to tell anyone. I can't, this which is not an individual anymore, can't tell that, what that's like.
So did this happen in your body?
Yeah, it happens in people's, it happens in the body. The illusion of separation suddenly collapses.
And it
It's
happened?
happening quite a lot.
Yeah? Okay. So
But what's left can't tell anyone else what that's like. Because
Yeah.
it's a mystery, it's unknown.
so it happens to you continuously?
No, there's no me left.
Yeah, but it's
There's no me
collapsed.
left. All there is unknowing.
So you are an unknowing energy.
Well, I'm not an unknowing energy.
But-
There is an unknowing energy.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Okay. No, I
The
don't, but
the
I
I, the self, and the me collapsed.
Okay, I understand. The me understood.
Hello again. You say you can't do anything for enlightenment.
No, that's exactly not what I'm saying. Tony Parsons said there's nothing you can do. I've never said there's nothing you can do. It's far worse than that. There is no you, and there's nothing to do. If I was saying there's nothing you can do, the implication would be that there's something sitting there that's a you, but there isn't. That's just energy sitting there. But in that energy can arise the illusion that there is a self sitting there as well. A belief or a dream that there's self sitting. All that's happening here is the possible deconstruction of that belief. Not through words, but energetically.
So when there's still the urge to search, that this is not fulfilling, it does totally not matter how you deal with this urge.
Well, no, not at all, because the illusion is that you are somebody who can deal with that urge. Don't forget that that urge is generated out of an energy, not an idea. You don't grow up and become conditioned to be a person. You actually feel that there's a sense of energy suddenly in the body as a very young child, which creates self-awareness, which creates a sense of individuality, and out of that comes a sense of separation, and out of that sense of separation comes a seeking. It's all, one after the other in a sense, but it's initiated by an energetic sense of separation. But then the problem is that the individual grows up and believes it has free will and choice, and it also believes it has free will and choice to become enlightened. That's the illusion.
So it totally doesn't matter what is done?
It doesn't actually, strangely enough, it doesn't do anything, but it believes it does. The illusion is I'm real and I do things. I get a job, I get married, or whatever. And I can become enlightened. So I meditate, I self-inquire, or I pray a lot and become a good Christian. That's the whole illusion is that of the self, is that it's real and it is actually doing something. There's no such thing as a person that's ever done anything. But in the world of individuals, that's what's believed as being normal. I do things. Doing things, action comes out of the brain, and then if there's a sense of a me takes ownership of what's being done and claims that it's doing something.
So,
The neuroscientists have already established that. The idea of there being an individual with free will and choice doing something is complete illusion.
so I approached it from the wrong side, maybe.
You can't approach it from the right side. There is no approach. This is not about an approach, because there's nothing to approach. There isn't anything to approach, and there's no one to approach it.
The me does not want to hear it, maybe.
Sorry, that's not...
The me does not want to hear this.
No, the me has a way of selecting what it hears. So in this sort of meeting, there's quite a lot of selective deafness.
I think so, yeah.
It doesn't want to hear this message. It rejects it out of hand.
Hello. There is a movement towards liberation.
No, there's only apparent.
Yeah, apparently.
Everything is only apparent.
And there's an apparent I that is doing this apparent movement. Is there anything that it's
Of course not, because the me lives in a world of movement. There isn't any movement.
okay?
There's only apparent movement. Movement is an appearance out of the whole. There appears to be something moving, but it's not real. It's real and unreal. So that's real and unreal.
Thank you.
Hello. But what is it all good for?
Nothing. There's nothing that it's good for. We would need to be clear that this message, first of all, doesn't make sense. Absolutely. And for anybody in this room, it's of absolutely no value at all. This is the worst place for an individual to come. Maybe. Because it's about the end individual. It's about loss. It's about the death of the illusion of individuality.
But you said the energy is there. Where does the energy
just
come
like-
from?
No, well, in my terms, energy is all there is. So the apparent universe, motor cars, buildings, feelings, thoughts, everything that's arising, including the voice or whatever movement, sound, is simply energy in that form. So this is energy in the form of a room with apparent bodies sitting on apparent chairs. Energy is all there is. And then it becomes contracted, or it can be, and then the whole illusion arises. There's nothing wrong with the illusion, there's nothing wrong with anything. It's just what seems to happen.
But in my daily life, I have a son and I have to educate him, or, you know, if I say it's an illusion and he comes home and he has a bad mark, you know, in class, then I say, oh, it's just an illusion, he can...
But that's a concept.
Okay.
All the time there's someone there, they believe they have a son, they go, I'm a mother. You know, as the individual grows, it takes on all sorts of identities, mother, whatever, like daughter, you know. It takes on a whole identity because it has to play the game in the world. I'm the mother, he's the son, I'm playing the game. And my belief is that I can help him become educated. So the idea of saying to your son, forget doing homework, it's an illusion, just wouldn't arise because it would just be another belief system. We're not talking about a belief system here. When the me is no more, the idea of doing homework or not, in that sense, doesn't arise.
But then you
The brain function naturally and spontaneously without anything in the way. So doing homework or not doing homework is what would arise. Neither matter.
And do you believe in God? Do you
Do I believe? Are we in the same meeting? First of all, there isn't anyone here, so there's nothing to believe in.
So this is a stupid question, but do you think God is the initial?
God is pure dualism. God, where is he? You know, this guy up in the sky. That's Christianity. Christianity is pure dualism, together with Buddhism and all the rest of the isms.
But where does it come from, the energy?
Me, one, God, two. That's two. One and two.
Yeah.
Make dualism.
Yeah.
The whole dualistic world, which is illusory, is about polarities, good and evil, bad and good, success and failure, inner and outer, me and God. It's all pure dualism. It's just a total illusion.
Okay. Yeah, I understand, but it was the energy. Is that God, or is that a concept?
Well, yeah, it sounds like it. And maybe it isn't. Maybe you feel there is a God that's energetic and has a big beard and keeps the accounts. It's just bullshit. Yeah, directly the sense of loss arises, then, you know, as obviously a tiny child, it wouldn't necessarily take any out. But directly the sense of loss arises, individuality, loss, then what is sought is guidance. For most people, as they grow out of being a tiny child into a young child or a young adult, that they need guidance because they feel they're lost. One of the very powerful ways of finding guidance, up until fairly recently, although it's beginning to collapse now, is religion, is a religious way. So some people seek guidance through God, or others go to a therapist, or others go to people who are called enlightened masters, or there isn't no such thing, but a teacher. So the whole seeking thing is about finding guidance to find fulfillment. God is a bit yesterday, really. There's one.
Right. This contracted energy.
Sorry?
The contracted energy.
Contracted energy.
Apparent contracted energy needs to collapse.
No, it doesn't need to
It
do
doesn't
anything because it isn't real.
It's not real, right?
All the time there's an experience of separation, there's a feeling of contraction, living in this body. And when Tony Parsons was still around, he felt that he lived within the boundaries of this skin, and he was in here somewhere. That's contracted energy, it's illusion.
How to break the illusion? No, you can't.
No,
You're not doing it, no?
But out of that illusion arises seeking for guidance, feeling of separation. But they are symptoms of that feeling.
How to get rid of the symptoms?
Sorry?
How? Crumble the symptoms.
Well, there's a feeling of being an individual in here and a feeling of a loss of something, so guidance would be sought. That's seeking. Seeking. Yeah?
I try to phrase
The individual lives in a dualistic dream and seeks not to. That's another way of putting it. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Yeah. And there are various forms of seeking, all of them wonderfully futile. Because all the forms of seeking are still also in the dualistic reality. The dualism, which is the individual, attracts dualistic teaching. This is about subject finding an object, called fulfillment.
Tony, I have a question. I feel a difference, for example, if I read your books or hear your CD, for example, and then the live experience.
Can you just take that just slightly lower, the mic? It's too near your
It
mouth.
is too loud?
Okay.
It is too loud?
Yeah.
Okay. Once more?
No, I heard something about books. Yeah.
Yes. If I read the books or hear a CD from you, and there's a difference between this and being together in the room. This
Well, books are only words on bits of paper.
Yes.
A YouTube thing is a bit more alive and spontaneous, but this is much more directly, energetically.
Is it like in music to hear a CD or a live concert?
And music about what?
Doesn't matter which music is it the difference between listening to a CD or live music?
Yes.
Yes.
Not a difference, it's more alive.
Yes.
So, your energy, the energy of Tony Parsons collapsed.
Yeah.
He's
Well, the artificial sense of there being a Tony Parsons
that
collapsed.
collapsed. But he's still walking in my dream around.
In your dream?
Yeah.
Right, well, there we are. That's what's happening.
So
Where,
that even
this
if
isn't Tony Parsons, this is just nothing.
the nothing still appears in my dream.
Right.
Yeah.
Is he good looking?
Yeah.
What did we do in your dream?
So when energy is collapsed, the rest of the collapse, the rest is still in people's dreams.
There's still...
Yes.
When the dream collapses, there isn't a dream, there's just aliveness.
There's
This is aliveness.
Yeah, you're alive, but the body is still in my dream.
Oh, well, I don't understand.
Yeah, me too, I don't understand.
If there's a dream that you are a person,
Yeah.
and you meet somebody called Tony Parsons, that's a dream.
Yeah, that's
There
a
isn't
dream.
anyone here called Tony Parsons, there isn't a
Okay.
person. What the individual does is project onto this some idea that there's a person here. It can only do that because that's the world it lives in. So if it lives in the dualistic world, which it is the dualistic world, then it projects onto this this is another person over here called Tony Parsons. And I'm relating to this person.
Okay.
Because I've heard how wonderful and good looking he is.
Yeah, definitely.
How does the collapsed energy of Tony Parsons perceive
No, we've got the
its
same
surroundings?
thing again. There is no how, because it doesn't really happen. You're back to the same thing again. There isn't anything that happens. There's nothing happening. So the whole idea that the individual has of a story of me seeking and then me collapsing isn't real. It's just an appearance.
Okay.
So there's no how to or why.
So when this apparent thinking process of the appearing mind stops for a while,
Oh, there can be
then there's like
there
there's
can be
like
an in
nothing.
and out.
There's like a nothing, and then at some point, the
Yeah.
appearing mind comes back. Can this process of coming back somehow be?
It's only an apparent process. It's only
Yeah.
an apparent meaning and being that seems to happen.
Yeah, but
Me.
can this like this breaks of
Well,
blah, blah,
one
blah,
day the
blah,
me
blah.
doesn't come back.
Yeah. So to try to stay in this process of this being of no blah, 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 of this no thinking process, when there's a break of not thinking. To try to stay in this awareness.
The apparent being seems to be there is no one, and then me comes back.
Yeah.
And then there is no one, then me comes. Most of the time, me is there.
Yeah, but
Alright, so one
sometimes it's
day
not there.
there is apparent being, and me doesn't come back.
Yeah.
It's not a process; it's an appearance. There's nothing that's real.
But this, when the me is not coming back at that moment,
Well,
It's that, but it's
you're
about-
not, what you're not hearing is the word apparently. Me doesn't want to hear the word apparently. There's an apparent me that arises and then not. There's an apparent me that arises and then apparently not. One day the apparent me doesn't seem to arise. Apparently. Everything is an appearance. There's nothing that's real. Oh, he or she.
My English is not so good.
That's all.
So,
My German is
if
crap.
we are energy and
No, well, there is only energy and we appear in it.
appearance of energy, so the energy had this me illusion created.
Yeah, in the energy that's free and boundless arises the illusion of there being a separate individual.
For this we are energy.
Sorry?
For this we are energy. Why?
Well, we aren't energy, there is energy in which we seem to appear.
Yeah. So the energy at the me and illusion created, not we.
The we that appears in that energy is an illusion.
Yes.
The illusion for the we is that it's real. The me, the I, thinks or feels that it is real. That's the illusion.
So it's not the person are not this me and illusion created about the energy.
I'm lost now.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You asked whether she's creating the contraction.
No, you're not creating. Oh no, you don't create anything.
No, we are not creating about
No,
the energy.
there isn't anything that creates anything. There's simply energy in that form.
About the
There
energy.
isn't a creator.
This energy created or
No creation. There's no creation.
What is energy?
Energy is just a word for boundlessness. Boundlessness, oneness, wholeness, energy. Energy is everything. If you listen to the beginning, I'm saying energy is the universe, motor cars, thoughts, feelings, whatever, and also the separate illusory sense of there being an individual that is real. Nobody creates it. There's no creator. There's no creator anywhere.
If is an house everything the energy creates.
No, there is. Oh, you keep on saying correct. There is no creation.
No.
No.
Okay. And what is ein chair?
See?
This. What is this?
It is an apparent pullover or something.
Und
Everything is only apparent, and there's nothing that creates it or doesn't create it. It both is and is not. It's real and it's unreal. This is real and unreal. Nobody created it.
okay.
I'm I'm sorry about that.
No,
But the seeker would so like there to be a God or a creator. There isn't any. There's no one out there, man.
But anything could be created and nothing. No.
If you want that to be, let it be there. Yeah. If there's a feeling there that there's a creator or creation, then that's what's happening there. There's nothing here that would even attempt to argue. No, is there a switch there? No. Fine.
Tony, is that right? It can only be a change when the me is seeing itself in a mirror of illusion.
The me can't see its own illusion. The me is illusory. An illusion can't see itself. It lives in that illusion. It lives in the sense, the feeling, the experience that it is real.
Yeah, but it is aware that it is an illusion, you know.
It might be aware that it's an illusion, but that's a concept. It still energetically has the sense that it is an energy. The idea that it's illusory is just an idea. There are people that teach people, you know, if you see that you're an illusion, or if you see you're an appearance, then suddenly it'll all go away. That's just bullshit. It's just another concept. It's just another belief. I believe I'm not real. It's bullshit.
Yeah, but there must be an insight, you know.
No, not at all.
No?
There's nothing that would have an insight. That which would have an insight dies with the me. So apparent liberation isn't an insight or a realization. It's energetic. It doesn't happen to anyone. That guy over there.
I have a question. Would you agree to say it doesn't really matter if this contracted energy goes away or not?
Absolutely. Nothing matters because there's nothing happening.
And it's only because of the seeker. Well, I would say I'm a typical seeker. I'm looking for truth and whatever.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really matter.
Absolutely. It's only for the me that things matter. This really matters. I matter. My story matters. Becoming enlightened matters. It's really important that I become enlightened.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's nothing to become enlightened.
Yeah.
Then
Because
nothing.
Because sometimes I could have the feeling that, okay, I'm in the meeting with Tony Parsons because Tony Parsons has something that I don't have, but this is just bullshit.
So you would have already misheard the meeting message.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't have anything. You've got lots of things. You.
Yeah.
You're a rich man. The me, the me, the itself, is a rich man. Jesus, it's more difficult for a rich man to enter. It's impossible. You're a rich man. concepts about me.
Yeah, of course. But this is just doesn't really matter.
No, nothing matters.
Yeah.
Nothing matters
Yeah.
except me. That's the problem, really, and that is, it's really important. I'm really important. That's the attraction of a very important guru, spiritual teacher. I'm with a very important teacher because I am very important. The last thing that the me wants is the ordinary. This is about something that's completely simple and ordinary and absolutely obvious, except to me.
Could you just say something to consciousness, what it means to being aware of awareness?
Yeah, awareness and consciousness is the way in which me of course, is its sense of self. To be aware is a function, for awareness to function, it has to have something to be aware of. So the way that awareness functions is for it to arise in the sense of self, which then thinks it's aware of sitting on a seat, or whatever you like. I know I'm sitting on a seat, which confirms I know I am a person sitting on a seat. I'm conscious of sitting on a seat. I'm conscious of the sky. This individual, is conscious of something else called the sky. That's how it remains separate.
And then the idea of consciousness, can you just say something to the idea that there is just consciousness?
No, well, that's a very lovely idea, but it can't be possible because consciousness is another word for knowing. So how can there just be knowing if there's nothing that's known? For knowing to function, it has to know something. It has to have something else it can know. So consciousness is a form of knowing and arises in the illusion of separation only. When that illusion collapses, what collapses with it is anything that knows. And what's left is unknown. In recent teachings, self-inquiry, consciousness has become another word for God, really. It's like an idea that all there is consciousness, all there is God, all there is knowing. But there isn't anything that knows except in the dream. I know I am an individual. I know separation. I know the flaw. I know the world. I know my wife. I know everything. So everything becomes predictable and covered with dust. When that collapses, and that whole idea of knowing everything, or a lot of things collapses, everything is new. I shall make everything new. It's the wonder of the floor, the sky, but there isn't anything that knows it. And then it's new, which it naturally isn't.
So it's just always very direct and
It's absolutely direct.
There's nothing in between.
There's nothing in between. And there's no knower in between, no consciousness.
Mm.
There's just sky. There's just sky. Sky. There's nothing that knows this sky.
There's just still a question. If this is all, let's say it's all clear. Let's presume it's all clear. So
let's presume
this is all clear. It's like what you say. It's just a blue sky.
Yeah.
Then it's just what about using the mind at its optimum?
Oh, the brain still
Just-
functions. This
yeah.
brain still functions most of the time. It still functions and eats dinner or drives a car, but there isn't anybody in the way. Driving a car happens, but there isn't a me that thinks it's driving the car or knows it's driving the car. It's just driving a car.
Yeah, that's just driving a car. But and what about using the mind at its optimum?
Oh yeah, that
Like-
can happen. Using the mind or
It's all
the
good.
mind, I'm not sure, analysing or understanding about something, how to make a risotto, still goes on happening.
Okay.
And now, of course, it happens without anything in the way. There's nothing in the way.
It's
So
also
making risotto is just...
yeah. But it's also nothing wrong just using the mind at its like cooking a risotto or planning to go to the States. Or,
But nobody does it.
yeah, it's just happening. Okay.
A question about suffering before and after liberation, as it were. Is it the case that suffering seems real before liberation?
Only to the me,
and
yeah.
after, yes, and after the liberation, there's just apparent suffering?
Yeah.
But liberation is a concept of the mind again. Apparent
And liberation can be a concept of the mind, it's just another belief, yeah. There is something called liberation. So what? It's a dream. In the dream of being an individual, there's something called liberation. I can have that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the dilemmas. In fact, it's probably the greatest dilemma.
When you talk about energy, what about the feeling of love?
What about?
Love is energy, isn't it?
Unconditional, yeah, there is, including the idea of love. So in the separate story, the separate sense of individualism, the individual believes that they experience love, but actually everything they do is out of need. So the love that they think of as love is actually a need. In terms of love, all there is unconditional love. It has no need. And it embraces and is everything that is.
That's the love I'm talking about, this unconditional love, yes.
It can't be conceived of. There's one just there. Do you want a mic?
So, I think it's clear that there is no one. Thoughts are happening, feelings are happening, whatever happens, happens.
Apparently.
Apparently, of course. But still, the illusion of pain is there.
Well, the illusion of viewing pain is there.
Of what?
Of me having pain.
Yeah.
Me has everything, or thinks it does.
Right. And is there something, any suggestion to reduce this illusionary pain?
No, me, all the time there's a me has pain. Pain is happening to me. When that illusion drops away, there's just pain.
And for example, if there happens feeling the pain.
Sorry?
If there happens feeling the pain, perceiving the
me
pain.
feels the pain.
Yeah, right. The pain, it seems that the pain becomes less, apparently. The pain drops.
No idea what you're talking about. What? If me feels pain, it becomes less, I don't know.
If the attention is on the pain, you know, feeling the pain consciously.
Oh yeah, all that stuff,
yeah.
So sometimes it feels less and sometimes not, so what? That's just another belief system. Me thinks it can use a process which diminishes the pain.
Right.
I mean, the me can do all sorts of therapy, but it makes it feel better, its dream is better. But we're not talking about that here, that's a dream. It's just another state that seems better than the last one, and then it's not, and then it is, and then it isn't. That's...
But apparently the pain can become less.
Yeah. So what? You still have a separate me with less pain. I don't, you know, so that's still separation.
You have no suggestion.
There is no one.
To whom does everything appear?
Sorry?
To whom does everything appear?
Well, to the individual, everything appears as separate. When there isn't anyone, there's nothing to which anything appears. There just is what is. There's not a centre in which the world appears to. There just is the world, or whatever you like.
But it must appear to something.
Not sure. Only in your way, only in the world.
Nothing in particular.
There must be a centre here, it appears.
Yes,
Of course not.
There's nothing particular to whom it appears, but it must be some receptivity that can not conceive, that the world can appear to.
No, absolutely not. That's the mystery. For the me, the I, is compounded by the idea that the world could be here without it. It's an amazing, wonderful arrogance.
Isn't it?
This room doesn't need anyone to appear before. There just is this room. This room is energy appearing in this form, but it doesn't appear to anyone.
Isn't it no thing that it appears to?
No thing.
No thing
This is no thing appearing in the
as
room,
this.
but not to anyone. There isn't anyone it appears to.
So it's at the same time object and subject.
Not at all, no. The only object and subject that arises, the experience of subject-object, is in the dream. I am a subject and the room appears to me as an object, in simple terms. That's the illusion. I'm a subject, you're the object. Oh. You appear to me, you're appearing before me, I can see you, I know you are there. That's the illusion.
Subject and object doesn't have to be separate. It can be the same thing at the same
Oh, really?
time.
Oh, that's news to me. Subject, object. Anyway, it's terminology. There is no subject object.
Okay.
All there is oneness, if you like.
Mm.
So if there's oneness, if there's one, Advaita means not two. That's one. There isn't anything that one appears to. If there was,
Sure.
there would be two.
Yeah. Then the world seems to cancel itself out.
To catch yourself out in,
Yeah.
in the dream, it
It
does.
is non-existent, basically.
Totally. The world is non-existent. There is no creation. There is no world.
Then the world disappears with the apparent individual. If that disappears,
It's the
world-
individual that sees the world.
Yeah.
When the individual is no more, the world is no more.
Mhm. Mysterious.
Very curious. Unknowable. It's the mystery that's been talked about for apparently thousands of years.
So the me is dreaming.
It's dreaming it.
It's dreaming you and everybody.
Yeah.
And when the me dies or collapses,
Yeah. The dream collapses. But there is something else. The dream that there's something else collapses.
yeah, then all of you collapse as well.
Well, the experience of there being all of you collapses.
Okay. So everybody here is in my dream.
Only for the dreamer.
For me.
There isn't anybody here as far as this is concerned. There's nobody here.
So for me as a dreamer.
Yeah, for the dreamer. If there was a dreamer sitting here, it would dream that there's people here.
I dream all the people in the world.
Yeah, because I'm a person, there must be people.
Yeah.
So self-consciousness arises.
Yeah.
And an agenda arises. So if there are people here, I'm a person, they're all looking at me, and there must be some expectation I have to fulfill, or there must be something going on. So you start the whole world of the me. When there's no one here, there's no one here.
Yeah. But
So
for the dreamer.
So there is no self-consciousness, so there's no agenda.
Yes.
There's no one to please or argue with or satisfy.
Yeah.
There's no one.
Yeah. But for the dreamer,
It's called freedom.
Yeah. So for the dreamer, it's still a big story. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And an important one in which the dreamer has to succeed.
Yeah. And the dreamer is trying to make his dream better.
Yeah, so if there was a dreamer sitting here with an audience, the way to make it better is to satisfy the audience or to entertain the audience.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen here. I don't know whether you've noticed that. something.
Do questions only arise to the apparent me, or is it something? I wonder that. I want to know that. Question, is that something that arises only to the apparent me?
No, I mean in this situation, questions seem to arise only from me about this, what we're talking about here. But questions can arise. You don't need a me for there to be questions. Although there wouldn't be any questions about the nature of this, the nature of me, or the universe. Might be questions about whether you put onions in risotto.
Yeah, no, I'm asking because for me, apparent me is it's always I want to know more. I want to know more. I want to understand that and that. That's the
I mean, that's what's going on here. Okay. But the only problem with that is that the questions aren't being satisfied.
Yeah. Okay. And another question is time something that only appears for the apparent me? Because the process of getting to know something, of doing something, is always bound to time.
Yeah.
So I have to reach that, but only in the future.
Yeah.
So
the whole goal-orientated, motivation. The whole motivation for me is to find something that it can know and understand, which will make its dream better, or make its life better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But does time exist?
No, well, it appears to exist. It's like everything. There is only appearance.
Okay.
Everything is only appearance.
Thank you.
So there appears to be time, there appears to be space, there appears to be oneness. There's nothing that's real.
So the illusion of the individual's dream is just appearing?
Yeah, the illusion is appearing. But for the me, the one itself, the illusion is that it's real. I am real.
It's appearing, yes.
Yeah, everything is appearing. So everything is real and unreal. But the illusion of being me is that I am real and the mind is a real thing. The me can't see that everything is real and unreal.
So what crushes the illusion?
What?
Crushes the illusion.
Crushes?
Breaks the
Well,
illusion,
nothing,
dissolves.
because the illusion doesn't need crushing. It's an illusion.
May I ask another one? What feeds the illusion?
Awareness.
Yeah, this awareness stuff, awareness is really annoying because it always cuts everything off. Yeah, and then I'm just wondering how to drop this fucking awareness.
There's nothing that can drop awareness. Can drop. It's absolutely. There's nothing that can stop awareness.
Oh my God.
All the time there's a self, there is awareness. And then some teachers of self-inquiry may teach you to focus the awareness more and more, which makes it even more and more so. And then what it leads to is a detachment. So, you feel detached. The more you focus your awareness, although you're not doing it, nobody does anything. But the more you apparently focus your awareness, the more detached you become. And it's a feeling, if you become very detached, it feels as though it's sort of enlightenment for a little while. So that's what self-inquiry leads you to a state of detachment, which feels very good for a little while.
But what?
Because you're going apart, pushing life away, being aware of it.
But I can't do anything.
There is no you.
I have a question about creativity. I have the feeling that creativity comes out of nothing. Would you agree?
No, there is no creativity.
Creative ideas, music.
No, there's nothing that creates. In the dream, there is a creator. Might be God or a composer of music or a cook. But it seems that the me or the self is creating music. There is no creativity.
Yeah, this is exactly my question. That's what I wanted to point to, because I have the feeling I'm not doing something. It just appears. And then what happens is that the me wants to own that.
I did it.
Yeah.
I made this risotto, or I wrote this symphony.
Yeah, and then it blocks it and kind of.
Yeah. It becomes yours.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no you.
Exactly.
Music just happens. Risottos just happen. Apparently. I say to Claire, would you like an apparent risotto?
So you couldn't say that like intuition is something that's not the person? Is intuition like direct?
Yeah, intuition isn't anybody's. It's just intuition.
I think that's what you meant.
Yeah. I think he was talking about creativity, not intuition. I mean, intuition is just intuition. It doesn't necessarily create. It doesn't have anything to do with music. It's just for me, intuition is a sense of something that's beyond thinking.
Right, that's the person doesn't get in the way, so to speak.
Yeah.
Here. So also this intuition is also just illusion.
Yeah, it just is that.
And could you just say something to being or this feeling of aliveness?
So say it again.
Could you just say something to being alive or just aliveness or energy?
There just is aliveness. There just is.
It's just aliveness. So,
yeah.
And this recognition of aliveness, where does it happen?
No, there isn't something that recognises aliveness except me. Me recognises something that it calls aliveness, then it turns it into a something. There is just aliveness. There is just energy. There just is what is. Within that, intuition seems to arise.
So this aliveness, actually, it's just a word.
They're all just words, that's the trouble. They don't say it. You can't say it. If you could say it, you
so
could
there's nothing, there's something, it's all just words.
Hello? Yeah. So what can be done
nothing
about liberation? So that nothing can be done?
Nothing can be done about liberation because all there is liberation already. Already all there is liberation. It's a funny word really. All there is oneness. All there is unconditional love. All there is energy. That's all there is. There's nothing that needs to be done about it because it's all there is.
Yeah, but you have to realize it, no?
Oh no, well, it's
because
exactly what you don't have to do.
I can realize
the worst thing you can do is realise it, because then you are someone who realises a concept. Don't you realise it, you're turning it into a something. It's something. It's not something. It's everything.
Okay, but that's what I don't realize.
That's good then, you get an extra star.
No, you apparently you realize.
No, I don't. There's nothing here that realises there's wholeness or oneness or energy. There just is wholeness, oneness or energy. There isn't anyone. If there was something here that realised it, this would be a path to realise that there was oneness.
So what you're saying is there is no liberation?
No, none at all. There's no seeking, there's no liberation, there's no separation.
So being here or not being here? For example,
being here or not
being in another place,
anything that is here or isn't here.
Doesn't make any difference.
No, none at all. That's freedom. There is no freedom either. Wow! Wow!
I don't get it.
You never will.
Can one say the absolute and the relative are not separated?
Absolutely.
And the dualistic and the non-dualistic are all the one? And it's all appearing? Is that?
The absolute and the relative are one. Problem with all the teachings are that they come out of the concept that the absolute is separate to the relative. And so everything is separate. So all those teachings are dualistic. I mean, you have to say in the end, there's no such thing as the absolute and the relative. It's just an invention in the mind of one word or idea. But directly you invent the idea of the absolute, then the higher self thinks the absolute is sort of up in a pink church in the sky, and the relative is down in the mud of the world. But there's no such thing.
Tony. What changed when the I dream disappeared?
Well, nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
Nothing needed to change. Everything was already.
I don't understand.
No.
There's nothing changed.
Good.
I have another question. What does the recognition of beauty mean for you?
Nothing true.
Nothing
No,
true.
when the individual, when separation collapses, what collapses with it are polarities. There's no beauty and ugliness, wrong or right, evil or good, inner or outer. That whole sense of a dualistic world in which there are two opposing sort of energies or something. So there isn't anything that's beautiful and there isn't anything that's ugly. All there is what is and is not.
Thank you.
Yes, but what about preferences?
Built into the DNA of the body of the human, there are preferences before birth. They are characteristic of preferences that arise, but you don't need a me for those to arise. They're just another form of aliveness. Preferences are just aliveness happening. You don't need a me for there to be preferences. They're not owned by anyone. They're part of the DNA of the body.
So preference of chocolate is the DNA of my body? Is
Marmalade. I'm the leading authority on marmalade in the Western world. No, but there are, like, if you're born in the Western world, there would be a preference for that sort of food or whatever. But it's meaningless. I have a preference for marmalade and Lamborghinis. Do you know what a Lamborghini is? This is very important. It's all part of the thing about in life. If you don't know what a Lamborghini is, you'll never become a man. Google it. It's the only car that when it's standing still, it looks as though it's going really fast.
Could one say that what we are talking about is the most normal, ordinary, simple thing?
Yeah.
And mind wants something special?
It's the most obvious thing there is here. It's absolutely obvious. When it happens to people, they say to me, this is amazing. This is just, I can't say what this is, but it's absolutely obvious.
Mm-hmm. But me wants something special, extraordinary.
Yeah. Me wants something extraordinary. It's in a drama, and you're looking for something special and important. Because it feels it is special and important. You know, if me, this is ridiculous in a way, but if me knew what would happen when it collapses, you'll be very disappointed. Because it's not special. In another way, it's immeasurably different.
And mind might think that it's very boring.
Yeah, the mind would be bored by the idea of it. All there is this. Oh, that's boring. Really? All there is sitting on the seat. Well, yeah.
I heard you once on YouTube saying something to the effect that all love is destructive. Do you recognize that kind of expression? Well, I would like you to comment if you can associate it somehow.
Well, compassion or unconditional love destroys the illusion of separation.
And then what is unconditional loveness?
Sorry?
After, when that illusion is gone, then what is unconditional loveness?
You could say that, yeah. One description. There's a killer in the room. That's it?
I think there are two different qualities. I mean, the absolute and the me. That's why they will never meet.
Well, in the seeker's perception, there's the absolute in me. That's dualism.
Yeah.
There is only the absolute is a word. It's a make-up word, really. There is no such thing as the absolute and the relative. There's no such thing as me and oneness. They're just ideas. That have no relevance. But the me believes it is something in the whole.
Yeah. But the me is conditioned by beliefs, values.
Including the belief that there's the relative is different to the absolute.
Yeah, but there are two different qualities.
Well, that's what the me believes. They aren't actually. They're one. There's only one. The absolute and the relative are one thing. There is no difference.
Nothing happened. Apparently.
So when the individual collapses,
Apparent.
the apparent individual collapses, all is oneness?
No, all is oneness, and in that, the apparent individual collapses. It isn't that the apparent individual collapses and suddenly there's oneness. There just is already only oneness.
sorry, me again. When your apparent individual collapsed, how did it feel like?
Nothing, because there wasn't anybody there to feel it. You're still talking as though after the collapse of the personal, there's a person that would know that. Yeah?
Was there any feelings at all? Any feelings at all?
Feelings could arise. Well, anything can happen, but there isn't anything that they arise for.
Sorry if I repeat myself. Some teachers say, if you stay with me, I help you, your me will be deconstructed.
Well, teachers help people. That doesn't happen here. There's no recognition that there's anyone to help. The teachers live in the dualistic world where I am a person who can help you and another person to find enlightenment. It's all part of the game of the illusion.
So it does not make any difference if...
Sorry?
It makes no difference?
No, it's simply part of the illusion that you have a me to deconstruct.
Okay.
If anybody promises you anything, run as quickly as you can.
Tony, is it possible to learn something without a me? For example, to drive a car?
Yeah.
It is possible,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
And for the teacher of driving, is it possible to teach without a me?
It's possible to talk about the possibility of a me, but it's not possible to teach somebody to get rid of me, because that would be based on an illusion.
This is okay.
I mean, there are teachers, apparently non-dual teachers, they say they are. They claim to be. We talk about non-duality in the way that this does, but then the problem is that they then teach somebody how to find it.
I understand. I didn't talk about this, just really about driving a car.
Driving a car, yeah. Even a Lamborghini. It takes a few extra lessons.
Hello. You say that compassion is kind of the opposite of the egotistic viewpoint.
Say that again.
Compassion is before...
Compassion destroys the illusion of separation.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So if there's an apparent choice for the apparent individual,
Say that again.
if there's a choice for...
There is no choice.
Yeah, an apparent choice to make for an apparent individual. It can and it chooses. There is compassion because oneness is reality, and the illusion is that there is an individual that can make an egotistic choice. And if then the compassionate choice is made, this can foster the destruction of falling away of the illusion.
Passion is no one.
Yeah. Of course. But that is not in contrast to what I asked.
The individual doesn't have compassion, it just has longing or hope.
Yes. But they can compassionate actions are done.
No, that's bullshit. That's Buddhism.
Okay.
Buddhism. There is no action. There isn't a thing.
Apparent
Compassion.
actions. Sorry.
You don't have or don't have compassion. There just is compassion, which comes out of no thing. Emerges from nothing. Like this.
So egotistic things are just stuff appear. It's also compassion appearing as egotistic actions.
As what?
Egotistical actions.
No, there is no action.
Apparent actions. Sorry. I give up. You want too powerful.
Is there compassion appearing for all the me's?
Is there compassion and...
Compassion appearing for all the me's?
No, not in that sense, no. Compassion recognises that there is no me.
Compassion recognizes there is no me.
In those terms.
So Buddhism is not pointing to the same thing that you're pointing to?
Right.
Buddhism is not pointing to the same teaching that you're pointing to.
I'm not teaching.
No. Of course.
There isn't anything here doing this for some reason. It just is what's happening.
Okay, but what is being said here is not matching with what is being said in Buddhism.
No, of course not. No.
It's
Buddhism is teaching.
But
it's a personal teaching.
Okay.
With the promise of leading to the impersonal. Sorry? Dzogchen originally was not a teaching, but now it very much is. Longchenpa was the guy that, I mean, you couldn't get much nearer to this than the original thing, but it very quickly turned, like everything else in the teaching. I mean, we have somebody in London who is in Dzogchen. It's so disciplined now, it's amazing. The discipline in it was incredible. It almost turned the other way. Okay?
Buddhism is not is teaching, but Buddha was not a teacher.
I don't know Buddha, I don't know anything about it. I don't think anybody really knows anything about Buddha or Jesus or any of those people. You'd have to give him a ring to ask him. We talk about this, I don't know. The problem with all of this is that when mystery is communicated, it's very quickly turned into a process that can be understood and known. Because the seeker is so frightened of mystery or its own absence that it has to turn any communication that comes out of the unknown into something that can be known and grasped alone. I can have this. In order to have it, I have to turn it from the mystery into a near mystery, which is then back into the world of the known. Mystery is frightening for me. Me can't handle mystery. Mystery can only live in the known, so it can't handle mystery. This is a mystery. We're talking about a mystery. We're sharing a mystery. It's like a bird, you know. It's like a bird that's flying, and it can't be caught. So all that me can try and do is to try and catch it, put it in a cage, and then it's not a bird flying.
If all there is oneness.
Sorry?
If all there is oneness.
Order.
All. If all there is oneness, how come that this illusion of separation is so strong in us?
Because it's fascinating. Me is fascinated when the contracted energy arises in the body, and then there's this feeling of identity, and as the child grows, it becomes fascinated with the idea that it can make its story better. And what you see in the world is people trying to make their dream better, in every way you could imagine. You know.
Can that process be stopped?
No, of course not, because it's not real. You're back to what you said.
No. Turn it off.
So what we're showing here is obviously non-conceptual, the oneness. And we use words to sort of point to it. But I would like to ask you if you agree that there's really no pointing going on. There's no one that points, there's nothing to point to, and there's no pointing. So the idea that we point to oneness by using words is part of the illusion, it's part of the problem.
It's completely pointless. This is a completely pointless meeting. Do you want to go home now, or do you want to...
No, I don't.
The energy is wonderful. I just said the energy is wonderful.
Yeah, because it's pointless. Why would you need to point at anything when you know it is that? Wow.
as long as the me doesn't collapse, it has to go on in its illusion.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
As long as the me is not collapsed, it has to go on in its illusion.
Oh yeah, it goes on moving. It's continually moving.
Moving, and it has to do his best as long as it doesn't collapse. Yeah. So as long as my me doesn't collapse, I have to go on with
Well, it
everything.
has to do what it thinks is best, but because it doesn't know what's best, it just goes on
It just
trying, it just moves.
Yeah.
It's constantly searching, because it is dualism. So the seeker is the dualism from which it tries to escape.
So
that's why it's utterly futile, because it's trying to escape from what it is.
Yes. So my only choice as a non-collapsed me is trying to make the dream the best.
You can do that.
I can.
Yeah, there's all sorts of ways you can do that. The only trouble is it doesn't work.
Okay. But to stop doesn't work either.
No.
It will not change a thing.
It's divinely hopeless.
So it doesn't matter if I stop or go on.
Nothing matters.
So I might as well go on.
Well, yeah, but then that sounds as though you have a choice. Oh, well, I might as well go on.
Well, it goes on.
It goes on, but you don't make it go on.
It goes on.
Yeah, it goes on.
Yeah.
Life goes on.
Life just goes on.
Yeah, man.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Some people say there is life energy in the body. Is this really true, or is this also a concept?
It's only an appearance. There is only appearance. So life apparently happening, or aliveness, is only an appearance.
And it happens completely on its own, the body?
Well, it doesn't happen on its own. It only apparently happens. It's not real. There's nothing happening. This is nothing happening. But it appears that there's movement in it, it's going somewhere. We'll all go out and go and have dinner or something. But actually there's nothing happening.
This is fascinating.
It's amazing. It's stunning. Wow.
Sometimes, it feels, there's a sense of that this is true what you are saying.
It's worked, it's worked. Sweet, that's so sweet, isn't it?
when that apparent individual body dies, what happens?
Well, it's simply the end of it. When you dream of there being an individual ceases, let's say at death, it's simply the end of the illusion of separation.
Then the illusion of
It's the collapse of the idea or the sense.
Right. Moment, but we have with your question, when there isn't the recognition of the collapsing.
Well, there isn't anybody that recognises.
Yeah, I know that,
Like, you don't need a me for there to be a recognition. But there's no me. And nobody died. Nobody dies. There's no such thing as that.
Tony, another question. Yeah. Sometimes I experience how I believe in a self-image and then it collapses.
So I
believe in a self-image, like I'm a particular person.
believe in
a self-image, an idea of myself.
But then you get that. Oh, an image.
Yeah, exactly. And it usually, when I become aware of it being an idea, then it collapses. And it falls off, kind of. Can this be compared to... no, okay. Thank you. I'm utterly frustrated.
I mean, in all this, you can hear me trying to, get somewhere. There's got to be an answer. There is no answer. So just forget everything that's happened this afternoon. Really, don't try and take anything home. You can't take this home. You can't put it in a little box and open it in the evening. There's nothing to hold on to here at all. There's nothing to hold on to. It's not worth listening to. All the words of those, just forget them. Because what you long for never leaves you. What you long for has never come and never gone away. It's this. You can go wherever you like and do whatever